That was supposed to be us being surprised. What? So, hey, welcome to another weekly live stream from Just Another Fanboy. I'm your host. My name is Steven. I'm joined this week by my daughter, Ronna. She's over there.
Hi.
That's all we got time for, folks. Let's wrap it up. So I hope we're also joined by y'all watching live because we really don't have a plan for this thing this week. And frankly, I don't know if you can hear us very well with both of us sharing the mic. So if you're out there, first like and subscribe if you haven't done that. Apparently that's something you're supposed to do over on the YouTube. All those YouTubers all say, like and subscribe. Please do that. Smash the like button. Smash it. I would tell you gently tap it. Gently tap that like button because you don't want to crack your screen, right?
Right?
Yeah.
That'd be bad.
So if you're out there, let us hear you. Leave us a comment because again, we have no idea what we're doing. And if you don't participate, if you don't interact with us, then this is going to be the live stream. Look, it's a light blinking back there. Look. Ooh, and then one over goes blink, 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 blink. Isn't that fun? So I know that I had asked you ahead of time to come up with 5 questions to ask me. Did you do that?
Yeah, I wrote them down on my phone.
Nice. Because I didn't.
Oh.
I mean, I have a couple. Can I ask you the first question?
Sure.
Do you believe in Bigfoot?
No.
No, you don't believe in Bigfoot at all?
Mm-mm.
I'm Bigfoot.
I think Bigfoot is just some dude in a costume who likes to travel the world.
Just one guy.
Yeah, just one guy.
Just one guy out there doing it all.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe his name is Bigfoot.
Maybe.
Have I ever told you that I used to have a reoccurring dream as a kid that I was at my grandmother's house in the bathroom going twosies and I look up in the window and Bigfoot is looking in at me?
That's weird.
Have I ever told you that?
Said that? No, that's weird.
What about y'all? Do you guys ever dream about Bigfoot? Tap, tap, tap. Is this thing on? Tap, tap. So you don't believe in Bigfoot?
I do not.
I want to believe in Bigfoot. I like the idea of there being a Bigfoot out there. I think the idea of a creature running around in the wilderness that nobody can prove exists, I think that's pretty awesome.
It could just be a big monkey. It could very much also just be a very big monkey.
Well, yeah. Giganticus pithecus, I think that's the name they theorize. So an ape from yesteryear, from the days of yore, from the old times. All right, you got questions for me? Ask your first question.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens here. I asked her to ask me questions.
How did you get into comics?
Oh, these folks have heard me tell this story. Your great-grandmother, who you never met because she passed before you were born, but who used to live just up the street from where we live now. We would come out and visit her. This is your Grandma Linda's mom. We would go out and visit every Sunday. And, of course, the grown-ups, all they wanted to do is sit around the table and talk. And by the grown-ups, I mean my mom and your grandma. My dad and my grandpa just sat and watched.
Watch football.
Football, and then Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Hee Haw was often on. You don't know Hee Haw. That was a country western music themed variety show, comedy extravaganza. Oh, did I see a cat tail behind us? We may be joined by the cats at some point. But anyway, your great-grandma would often go to garage sales and buy various things to keep us boys busy because it was me and my 2 brothers. And she bought a big old box of comics, which I didn't care too much for because at the time, as young as I was, I thought comics were like comic strips from the newspaper. So I didn't really pay much attention to him, but your Uncle David, my older brother, really did. And then he started to collect comics, and then he kind of got me into comics. So I often tell your mother blame David.
Mm.
It's David's fault. Don't blame my grandma. I love my grandma.
I got into comics from the Baby Mouse graphic novel series. 'Cause
I remember those.
They had that at the school's library.
Baby Mouse. Does anybody else? Baby Mouse. Does that do anything for you?
Baby Mouse was awesome.
I'm gonna look it up real quick here.
I have two of
see.
the books. We got them from that used bookstore.
That's right.
Half price bookstore.
Half Price Bookstore, which is no longer around, which is really sad because they were
A
awesome.
darn shame.
So there we go. Baby Mouse. Queen of the World, this says. Doesn't really translate. You gotta angle it right. Anyway, yeah. Jennifer L. Holm and Matthew Holm. Oh, a married couple used to make this. That's kind of nice. My battery's about to die.
Oh.
All right. Do you got another question for me?
I do. I wrote down 5
Okay.
questions because you told me to. One of the others is, we recently had a Pixar movie marathon. Which of the movies is your favorite?
That's a hard one because
There are a lot of good ones.
my gut says Finding Nemo. Because that was the first one that... I mean, I like Toy Story. Of course, Toy Story was completely different than anything else that had come out at that time. But Finding Nemo really was kind of the game changer. That had... I don't know if y'all can hear that, but the cats are wrestling around beneath us. But we recently watched Soul, which just came out on Christmas, and that was really good.
I really freaking liked Soul.
I really would have liked for it to end a little differently. I'd like to... I get the idea behind the ending, but there's part of me that wants to know what he decided to do with his life, because I like to think that he went on to teach.
I think if they didn't tell you because, like, they'd want to have you interpret it for yourself.
Well, I think the whole point of that ending was because he basically said he doesn't know what he's going to do with his life, but he's going to live. He's going to
live every moment of it.
Yeah, he's going to live every moment of it. So that was kind of the point: is that it doesn't matter. You're not. You don't have a. You don't really have a purpose. You're not made to do one thing, and so people live their whole lives trying to latch on to that one thing that they think they were meant to do, and then if they don't do it, then they die sad and alone. And the point of this was,
No.
that's not you have to appreciate just the things around you. You have to appreciate what you have. I think that was the lesson there. Well, I can't believe nobody has left a comment. So there's like literally nobody watching.
Well, I
can pick my nose.
the movie. I just thought, in general, the movie was really good. But one of the main reasons I liked it a lot was because just from the trailers, people were judging the whole movie by the trailers. They were like, "Oh, he's just gonna be a blue blob for the whole movie. There's gonna be no human stuff. It's gonna be boring." And then the movie came out, and the trailers they said nothing about the whole cat thing.
Yeah.
The cat was in the
Yeah.
trailers, but
Well,
it never.
well, that was a surprise.
Yeah.
You still saw it coming.
Well,
When they jumped down into there, it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna switch.
But a lot of people thought, "Oh, it's just gonna be Inside Out 2," when it's like, no, it's a whole new thing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what to think because I think I had only watched one trailer, but I was, because they really did. It started out in reality, then they went to the soul place, and then they went back to reality. So once they went to the whole soul place, I was like, I mean, they did that really fast. So I did think, I was really kind of worried at first, oh, is this what the rest of the movie is going to be? I mean, it's fun. It's got some neat ideas, and I always love to hear Richard Ayoade's voice.
Yeah.
But no, and good Lord, I swear, every Pixar movie that they do, the the art or the graphics, the reality, it just gets better and better every single time. There was one scene where when they first so he dies. He goes to he's supposed to go to the great beyond. They don't say heaven or hell.
Well, they do say hell.
Do they?
Yeah, remember all the baby souls? They were all like,
no, that's right.
It was like, is this HE double hockey sticks? And they just started, yeah.
Well, he wants to get back into his body because he just for the first time got a gig playing piano. He thinks that's what he's meant to do is to play piano in a jazz band. So then when they get back and they step out because she 22, did you know whose voice that was? Tina Fey. So when they step out onto the streets of New York and she's all like discombobulated because the noises and the smells. I mean, it just all the scene of them walking down the street, just all those people. It was crazy. It was crazy. I just cannot imagine how long it had. Did they have? Because I know for certain, I don't know a lot about how these animation studios work, but I know that for certain characters, it's like, isn't there like a whole team of people working on one person? Or I don't know. It's like, was there a different person working on each one of those people in the crowd? It was crazy.
That scene
looked
was
really good.
Cool because you could definitely feel what she was feeling.
Well,
you could feel the anxiousness in that scene.
And it only affirms my belief that now that Disney owns Marvel, Marvel needs to team up with Pixar and make a freaking superhero movie. I could totally. I mean, well, they Sony pretty much did it with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh my gosh!
I've been saying all along, and they want to do a good Superman movie, which of course isn't Marvel. They need to do it digitally animated. I don't have a lot of good light on me, but I don't care. I'll just be dark and mysterious. Just do the rest of the show like this. Okay, I've got a question for you.
Oh.
All right, so you hate Star Wars.
Yeah.
You have no interest in watching The Lord of the Rings. However, consider this scenario. Terrorists are going to destroy the world. And they tell you that the only way that only you can save the world, but you have to either watch the original Star Wars trilogy or The Lord of the Rings. Which do you choose?
I'd probably watch The Lord of the Rings because at least it's pretty. The whole reason I wanted to watch The Hobbit was because you were watching the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I was like, wow, this scenery is really pretty. I'm going to watch this. And then I was like,
Plus,
I don't like this.
Plus, The Lord of the Rings has Legolas. He's a handsome elf. He's a pretty good looking elf. This is the first time. I mean, you guys used to be on my the old Stephen or Else podcast. We used to do the Nerd Quest.
That was fun.
Is anybody watching yet?
I don't think so.
Okay, next question.
Oh. Why don't you like Batman?
I've had this conversation on the podcast before too. It's not that I don't like Batman. I'm sick and freaking tired of Batman. Batman. I have a love-hate relationship with Batman because when Batman is done well, I really like Batman.
Like Lego Batman.
Lego Batman is pretty awesome. But I don't think I have it up there, but one of my all-time favorite comic book stories is a Batman story, Batman Dark Knight Returns, which I actually think we gave that to Joe when he was in the hospital.
Aww.
And the Three Jokers that I read was really good, but for a while there, Batman was kind of treated as he can beat anybody he goes up against as long as he has some time to prepare. And that just, the whole Batman is the coolest, the best. He can do anything that he wants to, even though he doesn't have superpowers, but he can beat anybody. It just got really old really quick. And I don't think that's what they do with him anymore, but I don't read a lot of Batman because of it. That's my answer.
But Lego
Why don't-
Batman is pretty cool.
Lego Batman is awesome. Why don't you like Batman?
Well, I do like Batman. It's just you're always talking about Superman, and I don't get Superman because he's just a guy just wearing his underwear, flying around with laser vision, doing whatever. While Batman, he's so and he's got all those cool gadgets. He's got the Batmobile. He's got a lot of cool stuff. But to be fair, I also haven't had a lot of experience with Batman other than Lego Batman.
Batman is a good character. Don't get me wrong.
I think the concept of Batman is cool.
If when he's written correctly, he's really awesome. But for a long time, I felt like he wasn't written correctly, and he was written to be almost like the most powerful guy in the DC universe, and he doesn't have any powers. But he's so smart, and he's got such fighting prowess that he could beat. Well, anybody could beat Superman if they got some kryptonite, but still, it got on my nerves enough that I just stopped. I just stopped caring.
There's a cat behind me.
So, what comic book superheroes do you? I know you don't read when it comes to comic books these days. You don't really read superheroes. You read My Little Pony.
Yeah, the
And
My Little Pony
you read
comics
a lot
are
of
good.
you read a lot of manga.
Most of the comics I read are comics based off of the TV shows I like.
I have suggested that you read a book called Wind on Hoopla.
I did read that first issue.
Did you like it?
I did.
It gets much better.
I'm not going to finish reading it until I finish, because I can't read two different series at the same time. So I've got to finish what I'm reading now.
Well, there's only 5 issues out right now. And it gets a lot better. It's really fun. Wind, James Tynion the Fourth, I think, wrote that, who also writes Batman.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy? And he also writes a really good book called Something is Killing the Children, which I don't want you to read because it's really gory.
Yeah, I don't.
It's very violent, a lot of F words in it.
I don't like gore.
But what, if you were to just, if I was to say, okay, I want you to read a superhero comic today, who would be the one superhero you might want to gravitate towards?
Well, probably Spider-Man, because I love Into the Spider-Verse, and I really liked Spider-Man Homecoming. But I honestly didn't. I didn't really like the other Spider-Man Marvel movie that much.
Well, I just started reading.
But I did really like Homecoming.
Let me find one real quick. Because that character of Miles Morales, he was actually created for an alternate universe Spider-Man. But recently, I wasn't reading at the time, but recently they incorporated him into the main Marvel universe, and that's what he looks like right now. I've been reading that book. This is Miles Morales, Spider-Man. This is some good stuff. The artist on this is really awesome. Matter of fact, were you paying any attention when I was watching the 616 documentaries?
Not really.
One of the artists that they did an episode about 2 different artists who they're not American. They don't live in America, and this guy is one of them. Anyway, yeah.
I would probably also read some Spider Pig. Or is it? Spider-Ham?
Yeah, Spider-Ham. Peter
Spider-Ham.
Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham. I wonder if I have any up in the attic.
Because he was really funny in Into the Spider-Verse.
Here's a book I'll show everybody. Do you guys remember this? Sectars. I recently went up to the attic to grab a bunch of books to sell, and this is one of those I figured, God, this camera being reversed just screws me up. I figured this probably wouldn't sell. Plus, it's not in very good shape. But this is one of those comics they made to sell toys.
Oh.
And then I have this is gonna make people sad. I have a really beat up copy of Wolverine #2, very beat up. It's just look at the Star Wars on the back.
Don't show ads. You might get banned.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that's why I got kicked off of eBay.
I heard you talking about that.
eBay can suck it.
Mm-hmm.
I made my first sale on Mercari. Now
Good
I'm going to go
job.
spend the money on groceries tonight.
Yay, groceries.
All right, ask me your next question.
What's your favorite book you've written?
That I've written?
Yeah.
Well, I've technically only really written 2 books. I have the third is just a collection of 4 novellas.
What's your favorite story?
Probably the Norman, Oklahoma. I Am the Walrus. I think at one point it was entitled Norman, Oklahoma and the Walrus of Death.
Oh.
Which you can get if you purchase a copy of Then a Penguin Walked In and other tall tales. You can find that on Amazon. You can actually get it through Hoopla.
You can?
Yeah.
That's cool.
You can get that and The Adventures of Norman, Oklahoma on Hoopla now. Somebody checked them out last month because I made like 4 cents. 4 cents. Okay. I'm trying to think of any questions for you now, and I can't. What is it about Star Wars that you don't like?
I just thought it was really boring. I just don't get it.
That's fine.
And I don't think Baby Yoda's cute. I just don't. I think if they made a baby Chewbacca, that would be the exception.
Baby Yoda is freaking adorable, and his name is Grogu.
Yeah, I don't like
Grogu.
that name either.
That's too bad. I try to raise them right, but kids have their own mind.
I tried to get into Star Wars, but I went like years ago, but I just didn't enjoy it.
Do you remember there was another space show that I tried to get you into, and you wouldn't watch it because you said it was stupid? And then one day when I was watching it, you walked into the room and you sat down and started watching it, and then you just fell in love with it. Matter of fact, you finished the series. I never have. I still haven't finished the series. What was that? What was that show?
Are you talking about Voltron?
Voltron. Heck yeah. That, I tell you what, one of the bonuses of having kids is get my kids into Voltron, and then they, for Christmases and whatnot, get each one of the lions. And now I got a Voltron in my house. I never had one as a kid.
Voltron up to season 5 was really good, and then it went really downhill after that.
Telephone.
They just started introducing so many characters that just weren't important, and so many weird plot points. But the first 5 seasons, so good.
Does anybody agree or disagree? Well, if you do or don't, you're not watching live, so.
And they had Alora and Lance get together in the end.
Spoilers.
It's been out for a few years.
Yeah, but I think
now.
Alora and Lance, he was the main guy, right?
Lance,
he was
the Blue Lion.
Oh,
He was the one who was
he
always
was the Joker.
flirting with Alora. And because, she, in my opinion, went through the most pain throughout the series. And they were like, you know what? Because, the Castle of Lions was, falling apart and she needed to save it. So she was like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. And she gave her powers to Lance by kissing him. And he became all tan. And it was such a weird ending.
He became tan.
It was so weird.
So she no longer exists?
No, she's dead.
Jeez. So in order for the people to survive, the one character that was female
Well, Pidge was female.
That's true. But still. Not cool. Not cool, Voltron folks.
No one liked the ending.
Well, it's probably why I haven't watched it, because you guys talk such smack about that ending that I don't want to watch it now.
I feel like they should have gone the route of Gravity Falls and quit while they were ahead.
Well, unless they'd already, I mean, that's how they planned on ending it in the first place.
Yeah, but like, why would that's just such a weird ending?
All right, your next question.
This is my last one. No.
Last question.
What made you want to start podcasting?
I like the sound of my own voice. Honestly, I like talking about this stuff, and you guys don't. And so, gotta talk about it with somebody. So I talk about it with myself. And it doesn't seem as crazy to talk to yourself about comics if you're recording it for a podcast. It's not as sad. Otherwise, it's just a lone guy in his car going, "Did you like? I liked the comic I read yesterday. It was really good."
Just a guy talking to himself about comics because no one else will.
That's-
Because none of his kids will listen.
That's what my tagline should be. Just a guy talking comics to himself because nobody else wants to talk to him about comics. I mean, I always thought the idea of being a DJ would be cool. And there was a movie that came out in the 90s called Pump Up the Volume that had Christian Slater in it. And he was a high school kid who started a pirate radio station. He moved to this new school, and it's like one of those movies that if I watched it back today, kind of like Dead Poet Society, I would be watching it and watching the problems that these teenagers have, and I'd just be like, suck it up. Just grow up and just do what your parents say, because thinking back on the movie, the problems that a lot of them had, I'm sure for a teenager, because I remember watching it as a teenager just going, oh man, glad I don't have those kind of problems. But he was moved to a new school, and his dad was like the superintendent or something, and then he started his own pirate radio station. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. It's like, I want to do that. I want to start a pirate radio station. And podcasting is kind of like the next best thing, except you can't really play the music.
You want to be like the X or whatever he was called in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, Ted's college radio DJ persona, Mr. X or whatever he was called. Yeah, yep.
You know, we actually watched Dead Poets Society in our English class freshman year, but I didn't really watch it because I was also sick the day we watched it, so I just tried to sleep it off.
Well, it was one of those movies that I loved when I was a teenager. But one of the things that happens in the movie is, because it's all set at a private school. Mm-hmm. And Robin Williams is this teacher that has this unconventional way of teaching and invites the students to think for themselves and be free thinkers. And of course, the establishment doesn't like that. Oh, we don't want kids to be free thinkers. They've got to be pillars of society and blah, blah, blah. One of the kids was really into acting, and he wanted to be an actor. And so the teacher convinced him to try out for a play with the local community theater. And so he does, but he knew his parents wouldn't like him. They just think it's frivolous to want to be in a play. Of course, this was set in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, somewhere, probably the 60s. I don't remember, but back in yesteryear. And so the teacher convinces him, just do the play. Your parents will come and see it. They're going to love you in it. There's no way that they aren't going to love you in it. And that they come and see him, and then the dad basically tells them, we're taking you out of school because you were convinced to be in a play. And so the kid goes home and kills himself.
Oh.
And it's like, I remember watching it as a teenager going, yeah, that's pretty deep. But then as an adult, I think about it and I'm like, dude, you were like 17 years old. Just wait. You're going to be out of the house very soon. Then you can start being in plays and stuff. Good Lord, just smile and nod at your parents until you're out of their
Smile and
house.
wave, boys.
But you know, when you're that age, just you just I guess you just don't think about that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's where the teacher in a community who was always saying "Carpe diem." That's
Seize the day.
that was from Dead Poet Society, and he had them take out their books and throw them away because Robin Williams was like, "Take out your books and rip out this page and rip out that page and blah 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 blah."
And then he made them stand on the desk, and that girl fell.
The girl fell, yeah. Because after the kid kills himself, the school, the parents blame it on the teacher for putting these ideas in this kid's head. And so the school fires him, and they're having class, and he has to, because it's a private school, they all live there at the school, and his room is adjacent to the classroom. So he has to come back into his room to get a couple of things while the principal is teaching his class. And so he comes in and he's like, "You're not supposed to be here, Mr. whatever his name was. You need to leave." And he's, I just forgot something in my room. "Well, you won't get it and just get out of here." And so he goes into his room, and as he comes out, he's leaving. One of the students stands up on his desk and goes, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." And then other students follow suit and get down off the teacher's like, "Get down off the desk. You leave, Mr. Drake," or whatever his name was. And he's like, "Thank you, boys." And, you know, as a teenager, I'm watching it going, they love that teacher. I wish I had a teacher that inspiring. But it's silly when you look at it as an adult. This may be my shortest live stream yet.
Oh.
Because you've run out of questions.
Yeah, I have run out of questions. I mean, like, I can try to think of some, but it took me a while to think of those questions. Because I already know a lot about you.
Yeah, we don't try to hide stuff from you guys. I know it makes you sick when Mom and I talk about ourselves so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of anything else. So, well, you said you read Wind.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like about Wind?
I liked that one, like, chef whose hair looked like a cinnamon roll. I thought she was cool. And I liked the beginning because it made you think something big's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I liked the garden with the guy. He was cutting those poor little baby flowers. That was sad. They were so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I came across that. I just thought it looked pretty good, and I started reading it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought you and Palin would both like it, but I couldn't get Palin to read it, so. Yeah. So we got 2021 coming up.
Yeah.
Are you gonna-
Coronavirus gone.
Yeah. As soon as 21 hits, ding! Then everybody rushes out the door.
Is gone.
It's like one of those musicals. Everybody runs down the street going, "Yeah, yeah." I'm assuming you will stay up for New Year's Eve because you're up that late anyway.
It always, as the years go by, it just seems silly to be like, gotta stay up late for New Year's. And I'm like, I do that anyway, but I'll still do it. Because at least we get root beer floats out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta do floats.
Yeah, you gotta do floats.
Well, and I don't think I was working last year. Was I?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But that's our New Year's tradition. We get ice cream and soda pop and make floats.
And last year, Abby and Nick came over and we watched Smosh videos. Those Try Not to Laugh videos.
Yeah, I unsubscribed from them. They stopped being funny.
Oh.
But you introduced me to the Try Guys, so I've been
the
watching
Try
the Try
Guys.
Guys.
I can't wait till we can get their movie.
We might be able to do that on the next paycheck.
I hope, because I like the Try Guys. They're funny people.
Have to see what it's rated, because those boys have potty mouths on them. Those boys be cussing all the time. Must make their parents proud. Uh, yeah, New Year's Eve. When I was a kid, at least they have these New Year's Eve specials on, and they used to do it differently back then. It's like now it seems like they play it until midnight, whatever time zone it is, and then they replay it again until the midnight of the next time zone and replay it again. But when I was a kid, they had musicians on there that I cared about. I don't know any of these stupid people you guys listen to these days.
I don't really listen to much pop.
So it's like midnight arrives, your mom goes out and rings that bell, clang, 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 clang.
People start shooting fireworks.
Yeah, we got a lot of fireworks shooters around here. We had, when I was in my 20s, I lived with these two guys, and one of them was he had been an extra in the movie Last of the Mohicans, and he had his own colonial, like cosplay almost, and he had a big musket rifle, and you could take that. We would take that musket out on New Year's Eve. We'd go step out on the porch, and you'd put the gunpowder in it, and you'd stuff paper in the barrel, and you don't put a freaking bullet in there. There's nothing for it to fire out.
Stupid.
And then you just go boom, and just sparks go shooting out of it, and so that's what we would do when I was in my 20s for New Year's.
I made a little hat out of your mic thingy.
It's got cat hair all over it. I just threw it away. So you guys like the Christmas tree?
Yeah, I'll work hard on that.
I should show off Palin's ornaments. So, let's grab the other two.
Okay.
My other daughter, Palin, who's the youngest, likes to make stuff out of clay. And this year she decided to make ornaments of each of our animals. I know Niles is up there.
Oh, there's Niles. Where's Jamie? Maybe on the other side.
So this is our dog, Niles. He's a Lhasa Apso. We've had him the longest, and he's the best in the world. Even though he threw up in the bathroom earlier, and I had to clean it up. And I'm not good with the vomit. Go ask Palin where she put Jamie. Maybe she's like, Jamie's not my cat. I'll stick him somewhere in the back.
Maybe. I don't know. There's Jamie on the floor.
Oh, there's Jamie. Right there.
Oh.
This is Jamie. He is one of our cats that as far as the cats are concerned, we've had Jamie the longest. Jamie is Ronna's cat. She got Jamie for graduating from the 8th grade.
Yeah. I tried to pick him up, but he didn't let me.
And then this is Duck. We recently acquired Duck. He is not winking. This eye right here is gone. He's a straight up BA looking tough guy alley cat who's probably the sweetest cat you're ever going to meet. But he looks freaking mean. When I was a kid, my Aunt Mary had a freaking cat named Mickey. And sometimes we would go over to this is your Grandpa Robbie's sister. Sometimes we would go over to my Grandma Orr's and for like a family gathering, and Aunt Mary would be there, and she would bring her cat. But they'd always stick the cat in this back bedroom, and whenever anybody showed up that day, the first thing out of like Grandma or Aunt Mary's mouth was, "Mickey's in the other bedroom. Don't go back there." And I never, ever, ever saw what Mickey looked like.
Hi, Ducky.
Here comes Duck. There's Duck. See, that's his good eye that you can see. Yeah.
It's a birth defect.
Yeah. We thought he got in just like some kind of knockdown, drag out fight with a freaking mountain lion or something. But Vet thinks it's a birth defect. Anyway, this cat Mickey, I never saw it. Never got one look at it, because if they forgot to warn you that the cat was back in that room, you'd go back there and you'd open up the door and you'd just hear this, "Meow," and then you'd shut the door real quick and you'd hear, bam, as that cat just smacked into the door. And I just always assumed that cat was like some kind of freaking mountain lion or something. And looking at Duck, that's what I expect from Duck, because I look at Duck now and I picture that's what Mickey looked like back then. But Duck is a very sweet cat, obviously abandoned by somebody. And Palin took it upon herself to start feeding him. And she said, we're going to bring him in. He's going to be ours before winter. And I was like,
No.
we've already got one cat. I hate cats. Cats are stupid. I don't understand cats. And now I just love both of these freaking cats. Make me so angry.
They're good cats.
I'm showing them our ornaments.
I know, that's so great.
But nobody has joined us live, so we've just been asking
You suck.
questions to each other. That's my wife. If you didn't hear her, she said I suck.
That's rude.
Love and support. Love and support. So, yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. Like I said, this will probably be our shortest live stream.
Did you point out all your popcorn?
I strung all of this popcorn.
Yeah.
Popcorn and cranberries.
Ronna did that herself with real popcorn and real cranberries.
Of course.
We didn't grow the cranberries, but she popped the popcorn.
Yeah.
Microwave. But still.
Yeah. I'm hungry. What are we doing for dinner?
Wife wants to know what we're doing for dinner. I don't have anything planned because we don't have anything washed.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Um,
Let's wrap it up and talk real life.
all right, so we're going to wrap it up, folks, and talk some.
Mama's hungry.
Mama's hungry.
Mama needs chocolate.
Oh, well.
Daddy gotta go.
I got to get to the store and get some chocolate. So thanks for, if anybody was watching live, thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Yay,
Thanks
Ronna,
to my daughter, Ronna, for joining us.
And
To Duck for joining us. And
I tried to get Jamie on the stream, but he
That was my
didn't
wife.
let me pick him up.
Oh, jeez.
we'll be back next week.
Latte.
I'm not ready to talk about who we have on next week just yet. But if it's, I would have to look at my schedule. I think I remember who's next. That's probably why I'm not prepared to talk
I'm so
about it.
proud of you.
But
Great.
we got some folks coming up in January. So this is the last live stream of the year.
Yay.
So Happy New Year, everybody.
Crap, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. I don't know what,
Kwanzaa.
did they say Happy Kwanzaa? I don't know what they say for Kwanzaa.
It doesn't matter. We should know.
But
It does matter.
happy holidays to all faiths and beliefs and all that good stuff. Bye.
That
Bye.
does matter.
Black lives, they do matter, yes. Bye.